The January 2023 Visa Bulletin got a late start this month, but it's out now with one key change. EB-1 is now retrogressed for China and India. Otherwise, no changes for the EB-2, EB-3, and EB-5 visa preferences. So in today's video, we'll unpack January's Visa Bulletin and what it means for families on H-1B and EB-5 investors. But stay tuned through the end and I'll talk to you about a key strategy that you can use to stay on the path of achieving a green card for you and your family, especially in this uncertain economic climate. Hi everyone, Peter here at Behring Co. Each month we take a closer look at the Visa Bulletin to see what families can expect when applying for green cards through the employment-based and investor-based visa programs. If you need help deciphering the Visa Bulletin, check out our video on how to read and understand the Visa Bulletin. And if you're new here to Behring's EB-5 channel, we at Behring aim to provide visa updates and informational videos to help you successfully navigate the EB-5 investor visa program. So be sure to subscribe and follow us along. For EB-1, final action dates have been set for China and India to February 2022. The State Department did warn of an imminent cutoff date for EB-1 in its December Visa Bulletin, which we discussed a little bit more detail in our December video, which you can check out here. EB-1 has been viewed as a faster alternative to EB-2 and EB-3 green cards for qualified applicants who've had successful advancements in their careers and education, namely those who've demonstrated extraordinary abilities in their field, EB-1A, outstanding professors or researchers, EB-1B, and multinational executives and managers, EB-1C. Now, unless you have a priority date before June 2022, according to the data filing Table B, you now face retrogression, or a visa backlog. For EB-2 and EB-3 visa categories, we see no progress at all for China and India. India faced a significant retrogression in EB-2 starting in October, when final action dates reverted nearly 3 years, from December 2014 to April 2012. With EB-1 retrogressed, EB-2 and EB-3 visa preferences cannot expect any rollover of unused EB-1 visas to mitigate that retrogression. For EB-5, the investor visa program, there's been no change. Final action dates for China is March 22, 2015, and for India, November 8, 2019. These cutoff dates are for the unreserved EB-5 visa category for all investors that filed before the passage of the EB-5 Reform and Integrity Act in March 2022. For new investors filing in the newly created reserved EB-5 visa categories, rural, high unemployment area, and infrastructure, all countries remain current. This means new investors from China and India may invest and file EB-5 petitions without a visa backlog. However, these reserved visas are limited in number, so it would not be a huge surprise if we saw visa retrogression even for the reserved visas closer to September 2023. I've previously ran a deep dive on visa numbers, visa set-asides, and carryover of unused visas in our October Visa Bulletin video, so I encourage you to check out that video to learn more. As I mentioned at the beginning of today's video, I want to highlight a key strategy available to anyone in the United States on a valid visa who is interested in applying for EB-5, namely concurrent filing. Concurrent filing means that you can file your adjustment of status application at the same time that you file your EB-5 petition. This is particularly helpful for H-1B workers who are facing enormous pressure in today's economic climate. Through concurrent filing, you can get your EAD or work permit within a few months of filing your EB-5 petition and your adjustment of status application. Now, for a deep dive on switching from H-1B to EB-5, check out our recent technical walkthrough video here. I'll also put links to this tutorial and one on concurrent filing in the description below. Here I want to highlight key points about concurrent filing that come from your questions from watching our videos and when considering applying for the EB-5 visa. In order to file the I-45 adjustment of status, your priority date must be current in the Visa Bulletin. This means that if you are considering applying for the EB-5 investor visa, especially for the new reserved visa set-asides, then you need to watch out for potential retrogression in the coming months ahead. Your EAD and advanced parole, that is your work permit and your travel documents, are typically issued for 2-year periods, and then you can apply for an extension 180 days before expiration. Your EAD and advanced parole continue and may be renewed through the date of approval of your I-45 adjustment of status. This is important because it means that even if your visa category retrogresses, you may continue to enjoy the benefits of a green card, that is, work authorization and a travel permit, while you wait for your actual green card. Your ability to live and work in the United States and travel are not impacted even if your country of birth faces retrogression, especially in the reserved visa category, in the next 1 to 2 years. Concurrent filing was a key feature that came out of the EB-4 law earlier this year. Now, our next task on the policy front is to persuade Congress to enable advanced parole and EAD for families waiting outside the United States so that they can get a head start on their American dream without being negatively impacted by visa backlogs, especially those existing investors pending in the unreserved EB-5 visa category. Better still, through litigation or policy change, we need to recapture past years' unused visas and eradicate these visa backlogs altogether. We'll update you on these ongoing efforts in the future. If you have any questions about the Visa Bulletin or switching from H-1B to EB-5 and concurrent filing, please contact the Behring team. I've put a link